Two Madmins podcast, a new week, a new episode. 10 Sense of Communication. This is our new episode. After 2 weeks, we have not really released a new episode. I was waiting for Lassie. My guest today is Lassie. She's a musician and a communication expert. I was waiting for her to come on this particular episode because she has in-depth knowledge on communication. She's from JIJ, a trained communicator and a journalist, and she's a musician too. She sings really well. One of my favorite musicians, and she's coming up so good. You can check her out on IG, Damonda Lassie, YouTube, Damonda Lassie, Twitter, Lassie Damonda, and SoundCloud, Lassie. The Lassie is Lasi. Lassie, welcome.
Thank you, Nana.
Ciao, what's up?
I'm good.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
Long time. I'm happy you didn't give up on your music dream.
Yeah.
You're still doing it.
Just give up.
And I listened to your new song. It was dope.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I love it.
Thank you.
Your growth is beautiful. I love the whole growth. Your sound is sounding really good.
Oh, thank you.
You have to check it out on YouTube. Damonda Lassie. You check out her songs over there.
Yeah,
she's really good.
Yeah.
So
thank
today,
you.
You're welcome. So today, 10 Sense of Communication.
Yeah.
Me, I frequently chat people online. Mm-hmm. I chat my friends, and I've noticed something, a pattern with this generation.
Yeah.
We have learned a lot. A lot of information online, in books, people are really learning. Mm-hmm. But one thing that this generation is lacking is good communication skills.
That's true.
And it's one of my turn-off. When I'm chatting someone and I notice you have poor communication skills, I don't understand why at your age you should have poor communication skills after graduating from university or from senior high school. There are some basic communication rules that everyone needs to follow.
That's very true. And
today I felt we should bring a communication expert like you to come on this platform. So we discussed this show, 10 Sense of Communication. So when I called you and gave you this particular topic, how was it feeling like?
It was very humbling, but at the same time challenging because when you talk about communication, it's a lot that goes into it. Mm-hmm. And to be able to do justice to such a topic, you really have to be on top of what you do, and you should know what you're talking about. Yeah. So I found it humbling, but at the same time challenging. But here I am.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
But have you also noticed the poor communication among this generation?
Yes, I have. Most especially when we are texting. Mm-hmm. I think people are unable to communicate to the other person to decipher their current mood or what they are trying to communicate. Mm-hmm. Now, there's a way you text somebody and they are able to tell your mood.
Yeah.
And they can tell if you're trying to be offensive or you're polite. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And people don't know the difference.
Yeah.
So they don't know how to text somebody for the person to know that, this person, especially when the person is your senior, let's say at workplace or a senior colleague or your boss, there's a way, if you stood in front of them, there's a way you talk to them that they can read your body language and know that this person is being respectful.
Yeah.
But when you are away and you are texting them, there's equally that way that you can text them that they still feel that you're still being that person, that respectful person, if you were standing before them.
Yeah.
But a lot more people can't draw the lines, and it's worrying. The number of times I had to be offended because I felt somebody didn't talk well to me, or didn't talk well in the sense that they texted to me and I didn't decipher politeness and what I read. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but then I think it's a huge problem out there, and it might boil down to people's background and upbringing.
Yeah, true.
It's a lot more that goes into it.
Okay, so let's break everything down. So, for starters, what is communication?
Okay, so basically, it's if you're exchanging information or imparting somebody with information, you are communicating.
Okay. Okay.
So it should be through a certain means.
Okay.
Where that means can be what we are doing here, talking face to face.
Yeah.
That's verbal.
Yeah.
And the other means can be you put it into writing. And another means can be non-verbal, body language. And then another means can be visuals.
Okay.
That's art. People can draw, and you look at it and you know what they're trying to say.
Yeah.
You can see a post and you know that, oh, this means that don't urinate here, or this means that don't throw refuse here, or this means that you can't park here. Most of the time, the road signs we read, you know, most of them don't have actual words written under them, but you see them and you know that this means this. So those are visuals. Yeah. So basically, that's communication. And then the forms or the types are verbal, non-verbal, written, and visual.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So how important is communication in our daily lives?
Communication is very important because it helps to do away with assumptions. I've come to realize that people assume a lot.
Yeah, true.
It's that bad.
It's bad, true.
Like before somebody gets to even know you, they have a certain perception about you. And until they talk to you or deal with you, they are unable to tell or know who you are or what to think of you.
True.
So communication is very important because I think it deals with issues of assumption. So if you get to talk to people, you don't assume what you think they are or what you want to believe of them.
Yeah.
But you hear from them for yourself and you get to ask all the necessary questions. So it helps to deal with any issues or any questions that might linger on somebody's mind concerning another person. So I think communication is very, very important in the work area and even informally, formally or informally, between colleagues, friends, or just any normal person that you meet on the way.
Yeah.
It's important to be able to voice out what you feel, how you feel, other than leaving the person to read in between the lines. It can be damaging if you leave people to read in between the lines because they might read wrongly and they might read right. So
you can't take the risk.
Yes, you can't take that risk.
True. So are there standards and ethics in communication?
Yes, there are. It's very important that when you are dealing with somebody, what you say to them, how you say it, and at the end of the day, the consequences after talking to them goes a long way to continue that relationship or end that relationship or damage that relationship.
True.
Again, at the workplace, informally, just with friends or colleagues, it's this works anywhere. So if I spoke with you the first time and I said something that wasn't true, and you later found out that what I said was a lie, there is a very high possibility that subsequently when you deal with me, you wouldn't trust me.
Yeah.
Because I lied to you the first time. So my first impression, or your first impression of me, is that I'm a liar, or I'm not an honest person. So it's very important that we are honest with people. That's the very first one I want to talk about. Sorry, I would want to say that it's very important that we're very honest with people when we deal with them, especially for the first time, so that whatever impression you create is what they take away or they go with.
Yeah, true.
So my very first ethic will be being honest with people. And then you would want to know what form you should communicate to the person.
Okay.
Some people are not comfortable doing what we are doing now, facing one-to-one, face-to-face communication. And you might not be able to get your message across if you have them sit face-to-face with you.
True.
So you might have to write to them. For those people, that's an ethics you want to consider, because if you really want your message to go down, then you might want to use the right means.
Like email.
Okay. That's if it's formal. Email or a letter.
Okay.
That's why we have the newspapers. That's a form of communication. That's written. They are communicating to us. They are informing us. Newspapers. So it's more important. Even radio. That's a form of communication. Whatever, journalists are people who set the agenda for the day. So whatever they say, whether it's true or not, that is what we feed on. And like I back to my first point, if they put us something that is not true and continuously, we at a certain point we realize that these people are fond of putting on stuff that is incorrect. There's a likelihood that they lose following or target audience. So it's very important to be honest. That's my first. Now back to the point I was making. The means is very important. The means is as important as the message you are conveying.
Okay.
So that's another ethic you should consider. Now, another one is try not to be judgmental when you're dealing with people. Listen, and if you have an advice, give. If you don't have one, don't say things that in the long run the person might not want to come back to talk to you.
Okay.
So try as much as possible not to be judgmental.
Okay.
If saying whatever you're going to say at the end of the day is going to be judgmental, just don't say it.
Okay.
Now, another one I would want us to look at is listening very attentively when a person is talking to you, other than talking.
Okay.
Some people can really interject a lot of times. You're talking to them and they also want to talk. It's very bad. It's an ethics that we want to look at. It's very bad. So when you are talking to somebody or when somebody is talking to you, wait for your turn to talk. Listen more. And waiting doesn't mean you're just waiting for them to land so that you can talk.
You can talk,
You are actually listening attentively to what they are saying, so that at the end of the day, when they are done, when they actually land and you are talking, whatever you are talking or whatever reply you are giving, it's informed by what you have listened to. But you wouldn't just be talking from your own thoughts or what you believe in. So basically, those are some ethics we'd want to look at. I think, okay, so let me make this point. You can actually use personal experiences when you're talking to people. You can use personal experiences. It's another ethic. Let me be clear on this. Personal experiences in the sense that it is relevant to the discussion. If what you're going to say has no bearing to what conversation you are having, you might as well don't want to use it. So the experience or your personal experience that you are sharing with the person, it should help whatever discussion. If it wouldn't help it, then there's no need for it. So you can use personal experiences. The reason you can use it as an ethic is that it helps the person to relate. It helps the person to know that the situation I'm in, it's not a curse. It's not the first time. It has happened before and it's bound to happen, and it can happen to anyone.
True.
So it's good to use personal experiences, and keep informations that are confidential. That's an ethic that a lot of people in our generation miss out on. It's very bad. whatever is confidential must be kept confidential. Once it goes out there, the person can hold you accountable for it. Whether you're writing or you're speaking with the person, when we speak, if I'm speaking with you and I say, Nana, what I'm telling you is confidential, please keep it as such. You needn't tell the third person. Otherwise, you would have breached whatever.
The trust.
Yes, exactly. Now, another ethic is, I think it is linked to what the submission I just gave. If you are not confidential, you can defame people. Now, defamation is simply saying things that are untrue about somebody. And at the long run, whatever you've said can damage their reputation, their personality, or business. So when you don't keep things confidential, in the end, you can defame people. And defamation can either be slander or libel. Where slander is speaking it. So if I tell a third person that, oh, I met Nana today and, oh, Charlie, it's not going well. Like I said something damaging.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, my meeting with you wasn't confidential and I've carried information to a third party that I shouldn't do.
Yeah.
You can sue me. There are laws in this country that binds that. You can sue me for defaming or causing harm to your reputation.
Yeah.
So that is slander. So under defamation, you have libel and you have slander. Slander is speaking whatever that is defamatory, you've spoken it.
Yeah.
And libel is you've written it. So if I wrote a letter or a newsletter about you, and whatever information is in there, it's untrue. If the information is untrue, and I've written it about you, it means that I have defamed you. But that means, which is writing, is called libel.
Okay.
So slander is speaking it, and libel is writing it. But they are all defamation. They fall under defamation. Yeah, basically.
Wow, I've learned something new today. Yeah, it's really good, and I love your explanation.
Yeah.
So your libel made me remember the criminal libel law under Rollins.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
It makes sense.
Exactly.
So right now you are the Moses. This next question is the 10 sins of communication, and I'm going to explain each.
Okay.
So you have the 10 commandments. This is the 10 sins of communication that people shouldn't do.
Okay.
So let's start with sin number 1.
Okay. Sin number 1, I think I've mentioned earlier, assumptions.
Assumption, okay.
Do not assume that this is the situation.
Yeah.
If you see me and I look tired, it might be that I'm offended and not tired. If you spoke to me, you'll be able to decipher if it's tiredness or it's hunger.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's talk to people and not just assume that this is the situation. It can be very damaging. The second sin is drawing conclusions.
Okay.
It's somehow connected to assumptions.
Yeah.
When you conclude, somebody is talking to you and before they even land, you've concluded that, then it's this.
Yeah.
Somebody is probably saying that, oh, Nana, when I woke up today, I wasn't feeling well, and then I had to see the doctor and it's causing me a lot because I'm losing a lot of blood. Hey, she has gone to do abortion.
Yeah.
You have concluded.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
Meanwhile, there are a lot of things that can make people lose blood or a female lose blood and not necessarily related to abortion.
Yeah, true.
So let's not draw conclusions. When people are talking to us, we want to pay attention and let them land and let's get whatever information they're trying to put across. The third point or the third commandment is familiarity and using fancy words. People get familiar too easily, and it's the reason people are texting you and they can use fancy words. They can't describe a relationship that is formal or that should be formal and one that can be jovial. So somebody is texting you and then, hey, how are you? Hey, how are you? Can be tested to a friend that you have that kind of rapport or relationship with.
Yeah.
hey, how are you cannot be tested to your boss.
True.
Selasi, are you done with this assignments I had given you? Yes. You might want to use yes, please, other than yes.
Yeah.
The same way if you were texting and your boss asked that, are you done with the assignment? You might want to say yes, sir, or yes, please, other than yes.
Yeah.
A lot of our generation don't know these things. One, because they don't know because of their background and upbringing. So they don't know if they are texting, they can equally use please, other than just leave the word like that, drop the word like that.
Yeah, true.
It's either they don't know, or it's their upbringing, or they're just familiar. So we want to look at that. Don't get too familiar. Your boss can be very jovial and can be the best boss in the world, can be somebody that plays a lot. But then if your boss, if you have that rapport with your boss, it doesn't mean that you should be familiar with him. The fourth commandment is waiting instead of listening.
Okay.
When someone is talking to you, like I'm talking to you, Nana, you don't wait for me to learn so that I can ask the next question. Listen to me so that whatever I'm saying will inform your next question. I mentioned that earlier. Yes. So that's another commandment. That's the fourth commandment. And then the other one we want to look at is, if you want to use messages, instead of sending messages, instead of direct contact with people, you should know that not everybody likes to read lengthy. If the means of communication for the person is, if talking to the person face to face works for the person, why not?
Okay.
Whatever discussion we've had right now, Nana, if we were supposed to put it into writing, pages would have written a lot of pages. So just assume that we are going to put this discussion into text. If I was texting you on WhatsApp, imagine what I would have texted by now. And maybe you're in the midst of something, and I have given you a lot of
pages
to read. Meanwhile, WhatsApp is supposed to be you text, I text, and we go. So if the means can be face to face and we say things within few seconds, if that is better than texting it, which is bulky, why not do face to face? But even if you still want to do message, keep it simple. You don't want to bore the person with too much to read. Not everybody likes to read. The next one I want to talk about is using your personal experiences. There are some experiences that people use that do not necessarily relate to discussions they're having. You might want to give your experience to encourage or motivate the person, which is very good. But if it is not related, don't do it.
Don't do it. It's true.
If it is not related, don't use it. And don't interject the person and talk about your own personal thing when the person also came with a problem. So why stop the person from talking about his or her problem, and then you bring your own problem and talk for long hours because you want to give an example from your own personal experience?
True.
So let's look at that. Now, is that our fifth?
And that is our sixth. So
that's our sixth.
Going
now,
to the seventh.
Let's look at floundering. When you talk to people and whatever you are saying, excuse my language, doesn't make sense, why talk? There are people who just want to talk because they want their voice to be heard. Even in meetings, at the end of the day, they make their submissions and you realize that it is not related in any way. They are saying things that are totally off. So why say it? So if you're having a conversation with somebody and then at the end of the day, it is not going to make sense or it's not going to help the discussion, I think if you keep quiet, you save yourself a lot of embarrassment other than just saying things.
Yeah.
Now, our 8, that's our 8, right?
Yeah, 8.
I think I've already talked about using fancy words, right?
Yeah.
I'd want to add something again. There are situations where you use things like, I'm not trying to insult you, but... What do you imply by you're not trying to insult? It means that what is following is an insult.
Yeah.
You've insulted me. If you're not trying to insult me, then don't insult me. Don't say it. So don't use qualifiers like, I'm not trying to insult you. But then I think you're a bit stupid to have made this decision. You have insulted me.
True.
If you don't mean to insult me, don't just say it. Our final commandment... Is that our final commandment?
No, that's the 9th.
That's the 9th.
Yeah, let's go to the 9th.
The 9th is constantly interrupting people when they are talking. Nana, so yesterday I got very depressed because I was at home and then my power just went off and I didn't even have much money. And then, Lassie, even 2 weeks ago, I also had the same situation. And then you talk plenty and then you keep quiet. And then I said, but then finally I managed to, even when it happened to me last week, I also managed to... In the end, I get frustrated because I'm not able to tell you what I wanted to tell you.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you because I need someone to talk to, or I need a certain result.
Yeah.
So if at the end of the day I'm talking to you and continuously you are just interjecting me or interrupting me, then we wouldn't have a meaningful discussion. If you think that you also had a similar situation, why not wait for me to finish?
Yeah, true.
And you can put yours in. People interject you and whatever they have to say even makes you forget. Have you ever had a conversation with somebody and then at the end of the day you were talking and then they interject you and when they were done you've forgotten what you wanted to say?
Yeah, it happens.
It's a very bad practice.
Yeah, very annoying.
Now the very third commandment we want to look at is multitasking. When someone is talking to you, don't think that like the person should talk, I'm listening. When it is obvious that your attention is on something else. If I was talking to you now, Nana, if we're having a discussion and you're filing some documents somewhere, or you were texting, what is the guarantee that what I'm telling you or what I'm saying to you is actually going down?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, what you're trying to tell me is that you're not interested in the conversation I'm having with you.
Yeah.
That is what it means when people are talking to you and you're multitasking or doing other things. It means that whatever I'm trying to tell you, you are not interested.
Yeah.
It either means that it is not interest, you are not interested in the conversation, or I'm boring you with too much talk. So when people are talking to you, give them the audience. It's because you want to listen that you have chosen to. That's why when I'm on phone calls, if I pick your call, it means that I want to listen to you.
Yeah.
If I don't answer, it means that at the moment I'm not in the mood to have a conversation. So I wouldn't pick up, have you talk, and then I'm doing something else.
True.
And then occasionally the person says, so what do you say? And then you say, oh, sorry, what were you actually saying?
Yeah, that's very rude.
Very rude.
Yeah, that's very rude.
Very rude and very insulting.
Yeah, true.
So when people are talking to you, you give them your full audience. You don't pause, do other things and say, you talk, I'm listening. Your body language is enough to tell the person that you are listening to them, you are paying attention to them, or you are not. That's why we have none. So you can have all forms or all types of conversation, all form or types of communication come to play at a specific time. When I'm having a conversation with you face to face, which is verbal, the non-verbal communication can come in place when I'm talking to you and you are doing other things.
Yeah.
I can read your body language and tell that whatever I'm saying, you're not interested. So let's watch this.
Yeah, wow. I've learned a lot today. one or another, we are all guilty of one of the commandments that we need to work on. Especially mine is multitasking. I have to change. I'll work on that. This is bad.
You decide not to.
Yeah.
Pay attention to the person at all. That is, you don't pick up the call, or you tell the person, "Oh, can we talk some other time?" Other than availing yourself only to leave the person talking and you are doing other things. It's bad.
Before we go, let me ask a question. Okay.
Yes.
So, I love to text than to talk.
Yes.
Because I always believe that I'm talking, I might see certain things that are not necessary. But when I'm testing, I have ample time to scrutinize my thoughts
before I send.
And some friends think they try me home, I'm being some way because when they call me I tell them, well, let's WhatsApp, let's text, and they feel some way be. So to their defense, am I being wrong here? Because I'm used to testing than talking. I don't love to talk much on phone.
Okay. Now, when you choose to text instead of talk with people, it means that your means of communication, which works for you, is texting or writing. Now, it works for you, but might not work for other people. That's why they are complaining. The only way you can make them comfortable is when they are getting answers simultaneously when they are texting you.
Okay.
If they text you and it takes a while to respond, then they might be agitated more because they feel they should be talking to you. But if they get response immediately when they are texting and you respond simultaneously, they might get comfortable with the means that works for you. And over a period, they might respect you for that this is what works for you, and so let's just work with it because they get results immediately. Okay. So you should, if you think this is what works for you, then you should treat it right. Treat it the best way. Otherwise, if I'm going to text you and it should take you forever to respond to me, then there's no point. I think it's a more reason people would rather choose to call you on phone or talk to you other than text because they feel it would take too long for you to get to them. So if you choose to text, or if texting or writing is what works for you, then put it in a manner that will make other people equally fall in love with that or accept that means of communication.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, I get it now. I get it. And what about those who switch off their Bluetooth and you communicate with them? They're online. Yeah. And they don't want to respond to your communication. And it feels like you're not their priority.
Yes. So
how do you solve that thing with people who are used to that? Switching off my Bluetooth so that I can answer anytime I want.
So there are lots of reasons why people do things they do. One of the things is turning off your Bluetooth because it could be that you don't want people to be offended that you've read their messages. Do you know there are a number of times, or have you ever been there where you're doing something and quickly have to respond to a WhatsApp message and you open and read it and quickly something else, work or something got your attention, so you didn't respond, and somebody comes back to lash at you that you read my message and didn't respond. Yeah,
true. And sometimes you even reply them in your mind.
Exactly.
You're thinking that
genuinely you have forgotten because something else took your attention. But the person might not understand. So it's a reason people do that. I mean, that's the genuine reason. But there are other people just for reasons such as they act like they want to be. You know, there are people who act like they are helping or they want to help. They act like they want to help.
They are not helping.
But they are not helping, or they wouldn't help. So they feel like, oh, you can talk to me, you can confide in me. But deep down within them, they know that they don't want to help. So to make it comfortable, oh, you can talk to me, let's talk, that's my number, let's get in touch. But the only way they can avoid you is that you text them and then you can't tell whether they read it or not.
Yeah, true. It makes sense.
So they can come back and tell you that, oh, sorry, the whole week I've been busy. Oh, I didn't even know you tested me. Oh, you tested me this long. I'm so sorry. I didn't know this. Oh, forgive me. Oh, I'm in the midst of something. I'll get back to you. And that one will take another year.
Yeah, true.
So such category of people are there. There are genuine reasons, as in somebody who might read your message and quickly get drifted by something else they have to attend to and will not respond, and you might get offended, which they don't want. That is a genuine reason. And there's the other one, which is not genuine. People avoiding you, and yet they don't want you to know that they are avoiding you.
True.
So if you don't want to help somebody, or for some reason you don't want to talk to someone, why can't you be blunt with them? To save yourself and save the person from any other trouble. Yes.
Yeah, true.
Save yourself the stress. People can't just be honest, and I don't get it. True. Save yourself the stress. I can't help you, I'm sorry. Or for so and so reason, when people hit me up and they say, oh, Lassie, can we do this and that? I tell them that, oh, if it is this time frame, dear, I can't do it. I won't be available because I have this and that to do. But if you can wait for this long, then let's do it. But I won't tell you that I can do it when I can't do it. And in the end, I turn off my blue tick so that you don't see that I've read your message. There's no point in doing that.
And before we go, another question. I have a friend. We had a discussion on this particular issue. So he's very good with English. He can test fully and all that. But according to him, testing an informal person like we are friends.
Yes.
And using full sentences.
Yes.
Is too much of a burden for him. And I also have this argument that I can't read shorthand.
Okay.
It's something I don't want to even learn how to read.
Yes.
Because I feel it also affects my way of forming sentencing.
Exactly.
So with our informal friends, our casual friends, who are fond of testing in shorthand, is it cool to test in shorthand?
I think it's something everybody should avoid. Because like you rightly said, over a period, it affects your vocabulary. You get to a point where common correction, you wouldn't be able to spell it out right because you're used to writing it a certain way. We thank God. You're used to writing WTG. After a period, you're confused if the thank is TANK or THANK.
Yeah. So
why do you put yourself in a position that at the end of the day it's going to worry you? I don't think shorthand, in the first place, not everybody is able to understand, read it, or be able to respond. I think it helps when you have to text a lot of, you're sending somebody a lot of information, but you want it to look small.
Okay.
But like I earlier said, if you're sending somebody an information and it is lengthy, why not choose to call the person and discuss it briefly other than typing lengthy? The shorthand, I think, you might even get somebody to read your message and interpret it differently. Because they don't understand what you're trying to put across.
True.
It might be genuine and it might be something you're saying which is right, makes sense, polite, and yet somebody might be offended. For example, when you say B, somebody interprets B or will interpret B as buddy, baby, best friend, name it. Another person will interpret it as, excuse my language, bitch.
Yeah.
I've had to solve a problem between two people because he tested B and the female mistook it for bitch. And he meant B, the affectionate way.
Yeah.
So why put yourself in a compromising situation? I think we should avoid shorthand.
Yeah.
One, people might read you differently or read your message differently and read the wrong meanings into it. And two, Not everybody understands it. And 3, it affects your vocabulary. So let's just avoid it.
Cool. Your closing remarks.
I think communication is the very fundamentals for every human relationship, be it formally or informally, in the workplace, between friends, and even in romantic relationships. Communication is everything. If you don't communicate, if you're unhappy about something and you don't talk about it, the other party doesn't know what you're feeling. And whatever they are doing to hurt you, they might continuously do it.
Yeah.
Because you haven't said you don't like it. Maybe it hurts you. But because you don't say it, they don't know it hurts you. Maybe you are the type that communicates non-verbally. So you don't like it and you communicate it in a certain way through your actions. But not everybody can read non-verbal communications.
True.
So let's learn to talk to people. If you don't like it, say, I don't like it. Don't pretend or act like you like it and yet you don't like it. That thing is very damaging. A lot more people cannot say, don't do this, please, I don't like it. And yet they don't like it.
Yeah.
Say it, let the person know. At the end of the day, you'll be living a healthy life because it helps you. You have brought out whatever pain that is in you. If it's inside you and you're keeping it and you're not talking about it, it hurts only you and it kills only you.
Yeah.
If you talk about it, if the person is wise enough, they will apologize.
Yeah.
And you have your relationship back.
Yeah.
And be it in a workplace or romantic or just friendship. If you talk about it, you deal with your differences. If the person is wise enough, again, you talk about it, you trash out your differences, and you move on.
Yeah.
If the person is not wise enough, at the end of the day, they might want to end a relationship. But again, it doesn't mean anybody who wants to end a relationship because they are hurt means that they are not wise. Some people just don't want to be hurt again.
Yeah.
They feel like maybe the more they deal with you, you might do the same thing to them. So they would want to walk away.
Yeah. Yeah.
But a lot more people, after you've trashed out your differences, might continue whatever relationship you have with them.
Yeah.
So let's talk to people and let's do away with assuming that, oh, the person is okay. If you offend somebody, you should apologize. Don't assume that, oh, this person, he knows that's how I joke. No. They don't know that's how you joke.
Yeah, true.
Apologize.
True. So thanks for coming. So I had Lassie, she's a musician, communication expert, and I'll be using her song in this podcast. So the intro of the podcast, I'll play her latest song, and at the end of the podcast, I'll play her latest song. So you can also check out some of her songs on YouTube. Her YouTube channel is Damonda Lassie. Diamond, they add A to the diamond.
Yes.
Then Lassie, Lasi. On IG, Instagram is Damonda Lassie.
Yes.
On Facebook is Lassie. On Twitter is Lassie Damonda, right? So the IG is rather Damonda_Lassie.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So kindly follow her. She's a great person. She sings so good. And she speaks well.
Thanks for having me, Nana.
Thanks for coming. So same time next week, another topic. Bye.
Hey, hey, you go kill me.